Hello everyone, welcome back. Now I just installed a diesel powered engine heater in my Ford. So here it is. The paint is smoking, so there is like on the exhaust pipe there is like rust protection paint. So that's smoking away. That's the first start. It's a Eberspächer. It is from a Ford actually. Eberspächer Hydronic D5WSC. It has a built-in water pump, and there's the diesel supply. I feed it from the return line from the engine. That way it can suck diesel either from the tank, or also it gets supply when I'm running the engine as well, so it can help out heating up while the engine is running. So there it's installed on the frame, made a bracket for it. There's the bracket. So the air intake is behind the bracket over here. Can't see really, yeah, there. It is quite loud, I don't have a muffler on it. There's the exhaust. So I ran the water lines up here. Here is a vacuum. Oh, it's already starting to get a little bit warm. I just started it like literally 2 minutes ago. So this is a vacuum operated divider valve. So either the water goes into the heater core there, but when it gets vacuum, I connected it to the recirculation flap. So now this one is open, but when the recirculation, when a maximum AC is on, then I don't want any heat to go into the cab, because that's interfering with the AC condenser or AC evaporator and giving it some vampire heat that we don't need. Then this one, when it gets vacuum, then it closes and then it bypasses the coolant this way, and here is a T. Don't know if you can see that, but so either it goes through the heater core like that and down in the T, or just simply bypassing and down in the T into this line that goes to the bottom of the radiator and then back to the engine. So now the hot water from the diesel heater will go here. It's going to heat up the cab first, then it's going to go back into this T, down to the bottom of the radiator. You can see that here. That's the line it goes in, and then it goes through the whole bottom of the radiator into the big intake to the water pump. So then it supplies the engine with hot water. And it also keeps the radiator a little bit warm, and that's good, because in the bottom of the radiator, now this is another feature, in the bottom of the radiator I routed the washer fluid from the pump here to the bottom of the radiator. And there is, for automatic trucks, there is oil cooler here, but I used that oil cooler to heat the washer fluid. So then the diesel heater is also preheating the washer fluid a little bit, and then it goes back into the engine. And since this heater is literally heating up the coolant up to like 85-90 degrees, it's going to be plenty of heat, so it's going to preheat the whole radiator in case there is some ice formation in the radiator. That's going to thaw away as well, melt it. And also, yeah, the whole engine. And then when it has been run through the engine, it goes through the water pump, into the cylinder banks, up to the heads, and then back in here. From this side head, I took, yeah, that's the old supply for the heater core, so it's going there. Also, I ran it under the tank as well, so it kind of heats the tank a little bit. goes here. I have an air bleed valve here. Since this is the highest point, I added that. For those of you that also likes Oldsmobile V8 diesels, you can see that this fitting here with a 1/2-inch pipe thread and a hose barb on the other end, this one is from an old diesel from the, how do you call it, crankcase ventilation system, PCV house system. So that one threads into the intake. I just found it was perfectly fitting here. And then, well, the color of these lines aren't the best. They are a little bit too bright. They disturb a bit here, but I can of course paint them or wrap some kind of loom around them. Then the water goes down, so this is the return back to the diesel heater. So when this one gets up to 85-90 degrees, then the diesel heater stops, or it goes down to low power. I think it maintains, it's a variable frequency on the fuel pump and the fan, so it kind of steps down in power, and the maximum power is 5 kilowatts, so that's what it's putting out right now. Then it can step down to, I think, 2.5 kilowatts, and then it shuts off. So if the water goes over 90 degrees, it's going to shut off. But then the whole engine has to be 90 degrees. And also, of course, the cab heater, because I'm going to... Now, I just plugged in this is the power supply to the diesel heater. So I haven't finished the electrical connections for it yet. I am going to wire it up with a fan motor here as well. So I'm going to have a resistor. And then there is this wire here, supplies electricity. When the coolant reaches 35 degrees Celsius, this one powers on, which in that case will power a relay that will turn on the fan motor. So then it's going to start blowing hot air inside the cab. But I don't want the fan motor to run on maximum power. Of course, that's going to draw a lot of amperage from the batteries. So I'm going to install an external resistor here. So it's going to bypass the fan motor, and then it's going to run it. Or first, because I figured out the Ford's has constant 12 volt power to the motor, and then the negative is controlled through the resistor there with a fan switch inside the cab. So first I'm going to just use the positive here and have a switching relay and bypass it with a 12 volt signal from the battery, fused 12 volt signal. So the fan motor is going to start at whatever speed is set inside the cab. But I also would like in the future to have a separate resistor for that, so the fan motor always goes on the lowest speed. Because if I forgot the switch inside the cab on the highest setting, then that's going to run the fan motor on the highest setting. I don't want that. That's going to drain the batteries for me. So yeah, I still have to fix that. Here I found an extra connector that I'm going to use for this to plug it in there. So it's not really ready yet, but it's working. I just wanted to power it up and see that it gets fuel from the return line. Still seems to have fuel in the filter. Running great. Blowing some warm air out the exhaust. I don't have a muffler on it, so I might consider installing one because it is quite loud. Yeah, maybe it doesn't matter. It's also good to hear that it's running, so I'll see. The point is that if I sit inside the cab for a while in winter, I don't want to run the motor, so I can run the space heater instead. Of course, I have to keep track of the voltage so it doesn't drain the batteries. But I think this thing with a fan motor on the lowest speed can run for like 1.5 hours easily. With fresh batteries, 2-3 hours maybe. I have quite fresh batteries. They are the cheap brand though, but they're still pretty good. So yeah, now it's starting to build pressure here since it's warming up. Yeah, I feel this one is already getting a little bit warm. That means it's like 20-30 degrees plus already in the engine on this short time. We have been filming 10 minutes, and then additional 2 minutes it has been running before I started the video, so 12 minutes. Yeah, it's pretty warm here. I would say I can still hold my hand, but I would say 40 degrees into the heater. Now of course the fan motor isn't running, so it's heating up the engine much faster. Yeah, really efficient. This thing takes like half a liter, I think, half a liter, 0.6 liters at full power per hour. So that would be, let's see, a quart is 0.9 liters, so yeah, 0.4 of a quart. What would that be? I don't know the ounces, really. The ounces is confusing. Yeah, so not very much diesel per hour. That's barely nothing. Power consumption is around 40 watts for just the heater, for the water pump and the fan motor inside the heater, and then the plus additional, I would guess like 20 watts or something for that fan motor to operate on the lowest speed. I have to measure that still. Yeah, so I'm quite satisfied. I did this modification with my previous Dodge I had as well. That was an older heater, was consuming like 100 watts, so this is a modern electronic thing. Very efficient. I'm quite satisfied. Let's see if the radiator is getting warm. Yeah, the radiator is already kind of 30 degrees or something Celsius. So yeah, it goes up to, like, for those of you that speak Fahrenheit, freedom units, it goes up to 200 degrees, I think, maximum before it kicks off, or before it shuts off for the thermostat. So it heats up the coolant up to 200 Fahrenheit. I think at around 160 Fahrenheit, it is going to reduce the power though, to from 5 kilowatts to 2.5 kilowatts. So yeah, I think that's a great modification. I still have to wire up the electrical connections here and everything, but I'm satisfied so far. Okay, have a great day.